I am Sarah. I am the director of Children's Ministries here at Grand Rapids E-Free Church, and yes, I am here to talk with you about Fall 2020. If you're online or attend here regularly, you might remember that I was here speaking with you just a couple of weeks ago about our hope and desire to open at least 2 of our kid ministry spaces on Sunday morning, and I am so grateful to our good God and so grateful to the many of you who have stepped into some roles already for fall. And that means I can share with you this morning that next Sunday, September 13th, we will have 2 spaces open at 9 a.m. only for now, but our nursery will be opening as well as 1 of our preschool classrooms. We do have some capacity limits due to the square footage of the rooms that we have, as well as our staff to kid ratios that we like to keep to make sure kids are safe and supervised and well cared for and loved on. So we are asking at this time that parents RSVP for those spaces, nursery or preschool, and that is going to be something that's going to be made available to parents weekly online. There'll be a link emailed out, and you can also find that link online to RSVP. I want to say a word about that to those of you out there who I know are thinking of other families and don't want to take a spot away from someone else and are feeling like I don't want my kids to be taking a spot for others who might need it, and I really appreciate that kind of thinking. However, I still encourage you to RSVP, because if we know who's interested in planning and would like to come, and if our rooms are consistently filling up, that means that we need to start doing some work in opening additional spaces, and that's going to be dependent on staffing. If we're consistently full, we'll continue to pursue people to serve in those areas. So please do RSVP and be ready also for some potential of more needs as we hopefully are expanding spaces as we move forward. Now, there's questions about our elementary students. As I've spoken to our nursery and preschool kids, at this time, our Pathfinders, which is our Sunday school class, and our Kids Rocks groups are not going to be meeting as they have in the past, just due to the large grouping, again, the square footage situation. We're going to be keeping kids in small groups. This is actually a really exciting opportunity that we have for kids to go deep with each other, for leaders to get to know their groups even more as we meet in micro groups is the word I'm using, for very small group sizes, maybe 3 or 4 kids and 1 leader that are meeting together on a regular basis. That meeting time might be different for each group. So we won't be having large numbers of kids back on Sunday morning, Wednesday night, but we'll have leaders that will be finding a time in their schedule and welcoming 3 or 4 kids into their group that they will be leading and meeting with regularly. So we might have a group that meets Sunday after church. Maybe they'll bring a bag lunch, work through their curriculum together, talk about life, how this applies to them, questions that they have. Maybe they'll be meeting Monday night. Maybe they'll be meeting Tuesday after school. So it's a big change in format, very different, but yet exciting for the opportunity that we have, the things that can happen in a small group and a group that meets consistently, where the kids are really getting to know each other. The opportunity and the potential is just really exciting to me. I want to share briefly about an experience I had myself with that this past summer. As our kids' spaces were closed, I invited our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to meet with me for 6 weeks as we explored what the gospel means to them and how that is God's plan for their life. And we had about a little bit bigger than micro, I do have to say, 7 or 8 kids that came every week for 6 weeks as we went through this curriculum, studied in our Bibles together, and went deep. And it was so cool to see the relationships between the kids grow. I got to know the kids better. I was able from week to week to anticipate some of the questions, ponder some of the questions that they were posing to me. And it was so cool by the end of our 6 weeks together. Kids were asking questions to the group, and other kids in the group were attempting to explore the answers to those questions, looking things up in the Bible, remembering things that we had talked about in the previous weeks, and they were sharing that together. So their relationship was growing well, and they were walking alongside each other with Jesus. They were helping each other grow in Jesus, and this is so important. These relationships with these kids amongst themselves and with us, their church family, leaders, adults, is so important that these things start to happen before kids get to middle school. There are so many things coming at kids today. There are so many ideas, but for them to have relationships and experiences that have helped ground them in truth, where they know the truth, where they have those relationships to turn to for questions, for support, that they're not going this alone. It is so important and so valuable that we begin to do these things now. So exciting opportunities, lots of questions I'm sure you parents have about the format of these things, and we're going to be talking. I don't have time to go through each of those details today. There'll be a lot more details coming, but I wanted you parents to know about that. And I also want to share with you the opportunity to be a leader. I have a subliminal, not really subliminal message on my next slide. Who will lead the groups? Is it you? Please consider being a part of one of these groups. Please consider leading a small group of kids this fall. It is a sacrifice. There's time, there's energy, and I know there's so much competing for our time and our attention today. But you will be blessed when you have the experience of walking through life with kids, exploring and processing God's word with kids. Kids asked me questions I had to stop and think about. I grew from my experience with them, and I believe that will be your experience as well. Understanding more how kids think, processing life together from different perspectives will help you if you're a parent, a grandparent, a friend, a neighbor, a community member, which I think covers most of us. Your relationships will be influenced. And again, there's so many things competing for our time today, so many things for our attention, but by being a part of this small group, you are investing in something that will matter forever, something that cannot be erased, something that will not dissolve, but something that will last forever. So I really do encourage you to be prayerful and hear God's voice in your life about what he's asking you to do. And again, we could talk all morning about the opportunity, the potential, and exciting things that can happen as a part of this. So I'm so excited to be planning more. I'm so excited to be talking more, hopefully with lots of you. But I have a date on this next slide for you to take a look at. Think about coming and joining us. And I say I've never tied anyone down and forced them to serve, and I'm not going to start now. So don't be afraid to come to the meeting. This is an exploration meeting. This is a conversation. This is hearing more about it. If you are being nudged at all, stirred at all to come and be a part of what is happening, come and being a part of these kids' faith journey at this important time in their lives, please come to this meeting. If you have questions you want to ask before the meeting, I'll meet with you for coffee. We'll email, text with you, whatever works best for you to communicate. My contact information is on the back of the bulletin. It's if you're not in this space now but listening online and want to know more, my contact information is on our website as well. So please reach out, consider being a part. Hope to talk lots more with lots more of you soon. Thanks.